What up, people? What up, Facebook? What up, brothers? What up to all the sisters that watch this as well? All the single moms out there trying to figure out how to help their sons step into manhood. Welcome to Mike Your Mentor. This is My Life Monday, where I talk about things that have kind of made a difference in my life this past week. Things that I feel like God wants me to share with you because they're important lessons, important things to learn. So we got two important things to talk about tonight: unmet expectations, and then I want to ask you or share with you 5 important questions my mentor shared with me for you to think about in the answers to these questions. I think it will be thought-provoking. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So you might want to take a minute and grab a piece of paper and a pen, bust out your phone, open up Evernote so you can take some notes, because you always want to be learning, right? Be a lifelong learner. That's one of the keys to making yourself a better person and for changing your life, is keep an open mind to the information that comes your way. Discern that information, and then take what's necessary and apply it to your life. If you're watching this replay, thanks for tuning in. If you're new to the Mike Your Mentor page, hey, welcome. I am indebted. You better shut your mouth, Mark Garner. Listen to light skinned brothers all the time. But I'm indebted to you checking out this page. So a quick, short bio. My name is Mike King. And you know what? This is so important to me, this discussion about manhood, because my dad was in and out of prison 3 different times by the time I was 10. When he got out the 3rd time, he disappeared. Came back into my life when I was 15. And I was pumped, right? He was going to be coming to basketball games. He was going to be coming to football games where we were going to be spending time throwing the football in the yard, doing all the things that boys want to do with their fathers, right? I had all these grand plans to make up for all this lost time, and that lasted just a short period. And then some events went down that I've talked about on this page before. That you can find under the Sunday sermon post, and it ended up with him showing up high to our house and picking up a large stone and throwing it through the front window of our door, and screaming profanities at my mom, and making a big old scene, and my mom calling the police, and him getting in his semi truck and driving away. Off into the wind again. He was ghost. And then from the age of 18 to 23, there was this repeated pattern in my life, right? Dad would show up. He'd promise he'd show up to some major event, right? High school graduation, brother suicide, college graduation, and he would promise that he would be there for us, me and my sister and my brother, and that he would support us and help us, and was going to be the father that he had never been before. But he couldn't find a way to walk the walk, and he'd disappear every time. And as you can imagine, we were crushed, and to the point where the last time he contacted me and told me he was going to come to my college graduation, I almost told him off, but what stopped me from telling him off was, as he was explaining or talking to me like he always did, trying to sell himself to me, he said one thing that wasn't right, and he said, "When you see me, don't be scared." And then he continued on with the sentence, and my brain had to catch up to that, and I stopped and said, "Well, what do you mean, don't be scared?" And he was talking about coming to my college graduation, and he said, "Well, when you see me, I'm not going to look like you remember me." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, what's that supposed to mean?" And he said, "Well, the doctors have told me that I have stage 4 liver cancer, and they're not sure how long I have to live. but I'm gonna, fight this, and I'm gonna make it. And something inside my heart changed. I wanted to cuss my dad out, to be honest with you. Um, but what good would that have done? I felt sorry for him. I felt compassion for him, and so that didn't happen. And he didn't show up to my college graduation. But I did see him 2 days after that at my godfather's house, and he was right. He was scary. His eyes were sunk in the back of his head. His skin was he was like a skeleton. His skin was all tight to his face. He had aged like 30 years overnight. And even though my dad was old, for he was old physically, or I should say he was older. He was older than my mom. So I was 23, and my mom was she would have been, I think, 43. So I think my dad was 63, somewhere in that neighborhood. But he never looked as old as he was for his age. I mean, he aged incredibly well, but now he looked way older than he actually was. And we got to share or spend about 15 minutes of time together before he had to go lay down, because he was tired due to all the chemo and stuff that he was undergoing. And you know what? He died shortly after that. And it was at his funeral that this whole thing about manhood started to come into play in my life. I've never really paid too much attention to it, or taken it that serious. And at his funeral, I went up to the casket. I said my final goodbyes as I looked down on his body, and then I walked back to sit in my seat. And as I walked back, something just came over me, and I sat down in my chair, and I put my hands in my face like this, and I bent down into my lap, and I just started weeping uncontrollably, and the anger just started to rise up in me, and I was pissed. And I was pissed because the guy in the box didn't know anything about me. He really didn't know anything about me, and I was his son. And he should have known so much, but he missed out on so much. Never saw me play any basketball in high school. Never saw me play any basketball in college. Missed out on a lot of things. And that infuriated me. That made me angry as all get out. And as I sat there crying, my whole life flashed in front of my eyes, and all the times that he wasn't there. And then the crazy thing was I heard this voice. And it was God's voice. And God spoke to me clear as day. He said, "I know everything about you." And immediately all this peace came over me. I stopped crying, and I was good. It was a good but strange feeling, right? To feel that at peace after just being out of my mind, crying and upset and angry and unconsolable, right? So now I begin this journey of, here I am once again on my own as a young man. What does manhood really look like? Am I a man? How did I know when I became a man? And all these questions started to come to mind, and I was unintentionally set out on this journey to discover what that meant, to discover what it meant to be a good husband, what it meant to be a good father, what it meant to be a good member in society. And I had been given role models along the way, and I had gleaned a lot of things, but all this knowledge about manhood and what that meant was still all coming together. And now that I'm 38, I'm taking the culmination of all those seeds that have been planted in me and all those experiences along the way in an effort to share that with as many men as possible, to help them understand the calling that we have on our lives as men. Because we so underestimate it, we so undervalue it, and when we do that, this is what we get. Just look outside your window, look at the world, turn on the news. It's a direct result because men will not take responsibility of what they've been given and honor that and steward that appropriately. And it is my mission to help men realize that in whatever way I can. if it's just listening to somebody get something off their chest, or if it's just sharing some of the wisdom that I've gained over the years, then so be it. That's the way that I'm going to make a difference, because I've been quiet for too long, and I've maybe been blessed and cursed along the way with going through these hard situations and had to learn these things, but I believe that it was for a purpose, and I'm going to do something with it and make the most out of it. So this is why I'm doing this. So I hope that you will continue to join in. I'm going to be here every single day on this page for 2019, posting something different that pertains to us being men, bettering our lives, and stepping into the responsibility that we need to step into. So let's get into it tonight. So two things. So the first one is unmet expectations. And this past week, that has been a recurring theme in my life. Whether in my own thought life and me thinking about my life and maybe how I think it should be, or my relationships with people and how I think that, that should be what I should get out of it, right? Pretty much what I should be getting out of what I should be getting out of it. And then I've had two great conversations with other guys, very enlightening conversations about expectations, right? And I guess what I want to say about that is, what expectations are you carrying around about the other people in your life? What expectations are you carrying around about your wife? What expectations are you carrying around about your job? What expectations are you carrying around your kids? What expectations are you carrying around about what your life should look like? And I'm not here to say that those expectations, whatever they are right or they're wrong. I just want to pose to you, are they reasonable? I want to ask you, who told you that those expectations should be met? Now, don't get me wrong, right? I talk about this all the time on this channel. At the core of every person is the desire to be valued. And when we don't fulfill that desire in healthy ways, we go to unhealthy ways. And expectations are tricky, because when they are unreasonable, right, they cross over from being healthy expectations into unhealthy expectations. And when they become unhealthy expectations, we have a tendency to just think about those, right? What are we not getting? What is not being met? Rather than, what can we bring to the relationship? What can we bring to the situation? How can we serve this person? How can we love this person? I'll give you an example. Today I had a couple of sales calls, and I have to actively stop my mind from thinking, okay, what can I get out of this call, right? Because that's where your mind goes, right? It's selfish, and when you're operating from that standpoint, you can't serve that person like they need to be served. You can't add the most value that's possible to that other person's life, because you're only thinking about what you're going to get out of it, and how you can get that need met. So these calls, I had to purposely, a couple times before I picked up the phone, just detach myself from the outcome and be like, okay, I'm going to listen to this person. I'm going to understand what they're looking for, possibly what they need, and then if I can add value, then I'm going to mention that. If I can't, okay. And things were a lot more easier. Things were a lot better when those when I let go of those expectations. So that's the first thing. Here's the second thing I want to talk about, and then we'll get out of here tonight. I want to ask you 5 questions. So one of my mentors sent me a personal message, and it was from this book that he just finished reading, and the name of the book is called Walking with Justice: Uncommon Lessons from One of Life's Greatest Mentors, Molly Marty, JD, PhD. So, don't know what the book is about, didn't read it, but I know what my mentor sent me, and I thought that this was so good I needed to share it with you guys. So the first question, right, is who is a rich person? Right? And we define rich by a lot of different things. Some people define it by money. Some people define it by status. Some people define it by material things, right? What you can and what you can't do. This person in this example from this book says that the answer to who is a rich person is one who rejoices in their lot. So whatever your lot may look like, when you learn to appreciate that for what it is, then you are a rich person. The next question is, who is wise? I'm not going to comment on this. What people think is wisdom. I'm just going to show you what this person says wisdom is. And I thought it was pretty profound. One who learns from all others is the answer they proposed. Third question to ask is, who is mighty? And the answer that was given for who is mighty is one who can control their own emotions and make of an enemy a friend. Wow. That has nothing to do with strength. That has nothing to do with intelligence. Nothing to do with your entourage. Nothing to do with power. Your emotions. Your emotional intelligence. And then your ability to make an enemy into a friend. Alright, lots of stuff's being dropped around here. Next question is, who is honored? I love honor. I love the concept of honor. I think it's something that's sadly been lost in our society. The answer to this is, I just keep freezing up. One who honors others. Don't get any simpler than that, man, but wow. That's powerful. Alright, then the final one. I don't know why this keeps stalling out here. Must be using up all the broadband. Who is brave? And the answer, $1 to whoever gets this right. One who is smart enough to be afraid and still do their job. And I don't know how these are speaking to you, but when my mentor shared these with me, these things speak volumes to me. So much so that I need to do a better job of finding a way to remember these and incorporate these more into to my life. So that is it tonight for My Life Monday. Just wanted to share these things with you guys, these two important subjects, these 5 questions and their answers, and unmet expectations. Unmet expectations can be very powerful. They can make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. So I just want to challenge you guys as you go about your week. is try to let go of those unmet expectations. Relax a little. Um, Trust God. Trust God that He's got you, that He's going to bring you exactly what you need, when you need it, at the right time. Okay? I love you guys. If you need anything, hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me. I'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts. Have a great night.